Now the friction force, and the topic is friction force. Now the topic is friction force. The friction force is what? Friction force opposes the motion of body. It acts on the surface of contact between surface and body. The friction force it opposes the friction force. It opposes the motion of body. 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 It acts on the surface. It acts on on the point of on the surface of contact. It friction force. It opposes the motion of body. It acts on the surface of contact. Surface of contact between body and surface. Body and surface. The friction force is what? The friction force. Friction force opposes the motion of body. It acts on the surface of contact between body and surface. The friction force is what? Friction force. It opposes the it opposes the motion of body. It acts on the surface of contact between body and surface. The friction force, note down this. The friction force is of two types. Friction force is of two types. Friction force is of two types: static friction force and kinetic friction force. Friction force is of two types: static friction force and kinetic friction force. Friction force. Friction force is of two types: static friction force and kinetic friction force. Note down this point. The friction force is of two types: static friction force and kinetic friction force. Now the static friction. Static friction. In case of static friction, the static friction force Fs is less or equal to mu s multiplied by capital N. N is the normal force on the point of contact between body and surface. Okay? The static friction force represented by small fs is less or equal to mu s multiplied by N. N is the normal force on the point of contact between body and surface. And the maximum value of fs is what? The maximum value of fs is equal to mu s multiplied by N. This is the maximum value of a static friction force. Issue को कहते हैं limiting value of static friction. ठीक, note down this point. The static friction force Fs, static friction force Fs is less or equal to mu s multiplied by N. N is the normal force and mu s is the coefficient of static friction. The maximum value of static friction is equal to mu s multiplied by N. Here mus is the here mus is the coefficient of static friction. Static friction. Here mus is the coefficient of static friction. Suppose this is the body on the surface. When there is external force applied on the body, and this is the static friction Fs. There is the rest. Body is the rest. Here body is in the rest. Body in the rest. Body in the rest condition. If से जो है, if external force F is less or equal to mus multiplied by n, body remains in rest condition. Body remains rest. Body remains rest. Body remains rest, and friction is called as, and friction is known as static. If external force on the body, as long as external force on the body is less or equal to mus multiplied by n, body remains rest, and friction is known as static. Note down this point. The maximum value of static friction Fs max. The Fs max is equal to mus multiplied by n. This is called limiting value of static friction. This is known as limiting value of static friction. This is known as limiting value of static friction. This point to be noted. This is known as limiting value of static friction. The next point is kinetic friction. In case of kinetic friction, this is the body on the surface, external force on the body F, and it is in the motion. Body is under motion. Then जो होगा इसके ऊपर a kinetic friction force will act. If external force on the body F is greater than mus multiplied by capital N, it is the normal force, then body starts moving on the surface. Then body starts moving on the surface, and then friction force is called. Then friction is known as kinetic. Then friction is known as kinetic. If force on the body, if external force on the body, if external force on the body is greater than mu s multiplied by n, then body starts moving on the surface, and then friction is known as kinetic, and this friction force remains constant during the motion of the body. This is equal to mu k multiplied by n. Note down this point. Now the kinetic friction force. Now the kinetic friction force. Kinetic friction force Fk is equal to mu k multiplied by capital N, where mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction, and here is the normal force on the point of contact, and here is the normal force. Here is the normal force on body by surface. Here is the normal force on body by surface. Here is the normal force on body by surface. This is all about friction force.